Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we have 3 new additions to the Blu-ray movie collection to talk about, and I have these lined up in the background because the first one is from the Warner Archive, starring William Powell and Myrna Loy, my favorite duo in movies. The Thin Man Goes Home, great new Warner Archive release, and I'm super excited that this came out because that means there's only one Thin Man movie left to go. When this first started, when the first one came out, I was very excited, and I kind of thought that might be it. Very happy to get the first one, and then they kept going. And I was like, okay, maybe we'll get the first 3, then the first 4, and I think we're going to get the entire thing. The last movie is my least favorite anyway, so it doesn't happen, but I think it's going to happen, like, probably early next year. Very exciting. This edition comes with a comedy short, Why Daddy?, classic cartoon, Screwball Squirrel, and the theatrical trailer. And this, to me, is probably my second favorite. It's, after The Thin Man and this kind of challenge each other for which is my third and which is my second favorite overall. First is my, my favorite, but this one, I love the feel and tone of this one. It's a little different from the previous ones. By the time the Shadow of the Thin Man comes along, I personally still really love it, but I could see why some people might think it's starting to run out of gas and be a little formulaic. I have heard some reviews by the time I get to Shadow saying that. For me, I disagree. I love it the whole way through, but this does shake up the formula a little bit until it gets to the last act, which in a way is also very self-aware of the formula that it has and plays with it a little bit, has some fun with it. So a great movie. I absolutely love it. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. So seeing as this is one of my top 3, possibly second favorite in one of my favorite movie franchises, I am very happy that this came out. I love these movies, absolutely adore them, and being able to have the whole thing through Warner Archive on Blu-ray is amazing. Just one left to go, and I think we're going to get it. Next up, also from the Warner Archive, the second time they have tackled a Jackie Chan movie. The first time was this extended cut of Mr. Nice Guy, and I was very happy with this release compared to the older VHS and DVD releases. So when they announced they were going to be releasing this, I was very excited. Waited a little bit for a price drop and got it really cheap on the Warner Archive. I think it was like $12. Drunken Master II, my favorite Jackie Chan movie of all time. In fact, my favorite martial arts movie of all time. I think this is Jackie Chan's true masterpiece. My favorites of his, are mostly from the 80s, and then when you get into the 90s, this just takes it home for me. Amazing. Film I've always loved growing up with, and this has a little bit of a mixed reception. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Because there were mixed expectations of what this is going to be. I'll read on the back here, includes the original English subtitles seen in the Hong Kong theatrical release, original English language Golden Harvest theatrical trailer. So that first part, the original English subtitles as seen in the Hong Kong theatrical release, which would have been on older like Laserdiscs or video CDs or VHS, particularly from Hong Kong. It's a slightly different version of the English subtitles as what would be seen in some later versions of this movie. And the other thing that this does not include that some people thought was going to be included was the Jackie Chan English dub. This does have Cantonese and Mandarin and English as far as audio options, but it does not include the Legend of Drunken Master version of the subtitles or the audio mix. This is a slightly different version than this one, and a lot of people in the US, myself included, grew up with this version. So I think it depends on what you grew up with, a different older like Laserdisc release or VHS, or if you grew up with this version, which the Dimension home video release, which I grew up with this on VHS and then DVD, and then eventually came to Blu-ray. And this has Jackie Chan doing his own English dub, which is not in the other releases, and some people were hoping that this would include that, and it does not. So there's two slightly different versions, and that's where some of the disappointment lies in. For me, I like listening to it in Cantonese more anyway, like on my Laserdisc version. This is more of a nostalgic thing, because I grew up with this version of the movie and really, really love it. But when it comes down to it, I would prefer something like this version of the movie, or the ultimate edition would be this Japanese version that I have on Blu-ray. But this looks to be a really good release. All the reviews, aside from that, are super positive. So I can't wait to put this in and check this one out, because it is my favorite Jackie Chan movie of all time, and I think this is going to be a good version based off of the reviews I've read and my experience with this Warner Archive release. I think the expectation that it was going to be a little more or include some stuff from this release and didn't led a few people astray. And the last thing, something very different, and not from Warner Archive, we have the 35th anniversary edition of the movie version of the original Battlestar Galactica, the first portion, the 2 hour and 5 minute cut of the beginning of what that series would become. And I've always really enjoyed this, being a big fan of the original series, the remake series as well, but this, I've watched this version of the original Battlestar Galactica a lot over the years. I've watched the full series, multiple times, but the only one that I had available on VHS to rent as a kid, I never owned any of it. I watched Battlestar Galactica on TV, repeats, and now I own it on DVD and that type of thing. But for a long time, the version I was most familiar with was the theatrical cut of the first part of that series from a VHS release. So I wanted to have a great copy of that portion of the story on Blu-ray with this 35th anniversary edition, because I have a lot of memories attached to that particular portion of the story of Battlestar Galactica, the original series. Just a standard Blu-ray release. But yes, definitely excited to check this out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So those are the most recent additions to the Blu-ray collection. And the Battlestar Galactica is the last portion of that franchise that I wanted for our collection. So that has been added as an option on the latest poll as far as what collections you guys would like to see. So make sure you check that out. And if you're watching this as it comes out, of course, check out the poll, and there will be a huge franchise collection coming in December. Look forward to that, and some Christmas movie talk, that kind of thing, as we wrap up this crazy year.